Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, we are on day 4 of our mineral display case assembly, and I got some plans today. Let me show you what's on the agenda. So I got the whole thing back out in the garage here, laying on its back. So, what I want to do today is I want to round off these edges here. These are all right angles from the saw. They're all a little bit rough. And I want kind of a round edge all around it for anything that's going to be facing forward. And so that's going to be, this piece, both sides, the frame piece all the way around, the sides on the top, probably not the bottom. I probably won't do the bottom on this either. We'll leave that as a right angle. But the inside edge is going to be done, and all the way around, like I said, anything that's sticking out. It's going to be facing forward, so the sides and all that. So that's a big part of the agenda today. After that, I want to start sanding this thing. I got to make this thing look nice, get all the little scuff marks and all the little imperfections in there. Sometimes when you route things, you get a little bit of discoloration on the wood, so you want to sand all that off, get it all nice and smooth and ready to go, so it looks nice. And then after that, I need to install the electricity in here. At least get things figured out and get the holes drilled so that I can clean those up before we do the finishing. So that's on the agenda today. Let's get going. All right, the routing went real quick, and you can really kind of see the difference now. Rather than being kind of a right angle, it's a kind of a nice smooth curve. Now I gotta sand it down a little bit now. I'm gonna be doing a lot of sanding now. That's the next phase. But at this point, it's going to have a more of a soft feel to it. It won't be the sharp edges that you find all the way around. And it's just sort of been one of my signature things that I do. See what I mean though about how you get a little discoloration sometimes with the router? So I got to do that, and obviously I squished the wood a little bit here with one of my clamps, so we're going to sand that off and get that smooth. And that's the next really big part of this now is the sanding, and that's going to take some time. Fortunately, I got kind of a nice little orbital sander that does a good job on this and will still maintain a really good finish on it. So that's what you want. You don't want to be able to see your sanding marks, because that means you're kind of doing it wrong. And with the orbital sander, we'll get some really good results. So I'm going to kind of blow this thing out, and then we're going to make a whole bunch more dust. Alright, I've spent a significant amount of time sanding it. It's nice and pretty smooth right now. Got to kind of clean it off a little bit because there's a little bit of dust floating around. But it's starting to look pretty much like it should at the end here. I've gotten all the rough patches off. I've also put the shelves in here too. I installed the brackets in the back of the shelf. Now I'm actually going to do the screws a little different. These are just wood screws that I'm using just to kind of hold stuff in place. But obviously it's no good because they're sticking out the back. So what I'm going to do ultimately is get some machine screws, and we'll just put a washer and a nut on the back of it. It'll stick out a little bit, but we'll be able to get something that's a little bit more to size. And right now this is all I had, and I wanted something that went all the way through. But obviously we can't have points sticking out of the back, so we'll go get screws at some point to do that when we put this together for real. But for now, the wood screws are holding everything into place. And I got the shelves pretty much figured out and cut to length. I still got to put the front piece on that to make it look good. Now, one of the things I wanted to do here was have the shelves go all the way to the back. Now, these brackets here, the brackets actually, prevent the shelf going all the way from the back. So what I've actually done is cut little notches in it so I can push the shelf all the way to the back wall. Then there won't be the possibility of things falling off in the back there, which we don't want. So I think we're coming along here. I'm going to do some more finishing. Like I said, I haven't cut in these pieces yet, but we will get them pretty quick here. Alright, a little bit more time has passed by. I've cut in both the shelves now. I actually took another trip over to Home Depot because I needed another piece of the oak to face the edge of these shelf pieces. So we're back for that. We're going to go install those right now. and that'll obviously get rid of the ugly plywood look underneath this, and we'll be one step closer to being finished. Alright, I think we're pretty much done with the fabrication part of things. I got the shelves in place. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to screw the shelves in or just leave them in there loose and let gravity do all the work. I have not replaced the screws that are sticking out of the back yet, but I have new screws that I am going to put in there once the fabrication phase is done, and once I'm done staining it and lacquering it and all that, then we'll replace it with the new screws. Until then, those will hold up just fine. I think probably the next thing I wanted to start doing is figuring out how I'm going to put electrical in this, because I got strip lights that I'm going to put in each of the 4 sections, and I'm going to have to put the, wire that up and get that all to work. And then there's also going to be in, I think probably this one here, I'm going to put those black lights that I showed you. And that's going to be the area where we put the uranium glass and where we put the UV reactive stuff, the stuff that's going to look great under the black light. And I want that to kind of be front and center. So that's going to be the top row is going to be kind of a multi thing. It'll be both the traditional tape light, plus it'll also have the black lights in there. And I think that's going to be the first thing I'm going to start figuring out how to put in. Alright, this may be a little bit confusing because actually I got this thing upside down, so when you look down, you're actually looking at the roof of one of the modules. I've got the black lights installed. They're going to run through the ceiling here, and they'll be powered from like a USB hub. Right now I have it right here, just because gravity won't allow it to stay on the bottom. But see, that's an extra advantage of having this blank panel here, is I can hide stuff behind that. And so a lot of the electrical that's going to go on in here is going to be hidden actually behind this, we'll call it a bulkhead for lack of a better term. It's just a spacer piece, but I also intentionally made it stick out a little bit so I can hide the tape strip underneath it. And so, the tape strip will run right along the edge here. And then it's my understanding that I can cut the strip and splice it back together. So what I'm going to do to go through the wall here is I'm going to make a little drill hole right here, and then another drill hole right here, and the wire will just come up and around, and it'll go through, and that'll get us over to here. Now the second shelf is going to be a little complicated because I'm going to actually have to run the wire along here. So it'll probably come out here and attach to the shelf and then run across the underside of the shelf. And I don't know, I still got to figure that out a little bit, but this is sort of a work in progress. I don't know, we're gonna have to do some thinking about this here. That's sort of the excitement of working on something like this. You never really know what's going to happen, what kind of little challenges you might run into, and that adds to the fun, right? Alright, now I'm starting to put in the tape light a little bit. I drilled a hole right here, and we're going to bring the wire in from there, which is this piece down here. I'll string it across here. There's one little hole here, one little hole here, so basically the wire just kind of goes around that, comes back out of this hole, continues down, and then it goes up into a hole here. Now at this point, I think what I want to do is cut off the wire on the other side so that I can connect onto it, make an extension piece. They've got these little extension pieces allow you to cut it and reconnect. Now I'm going to have to actually lengthen this because the connection piece is going to connect here, and basically it needs to go all the way around to about here, and then it's going to come back in, it'll sneak behind there, come back on this one, run along here, and it'll be on that shelf on the inside. Actually no, I'm going to have to drag it out. I'm sorry, I'm kind of designing this as I go along here. Now I'm going to come through here, going to run along the wall here, pick up the shelf, run along the whole length of the shelf on the underside here, go through here, and then pick up the shelf on the other side and run there so that it's in the front like it is here. So like I said, I'm kind of making this up as I go along. I knew I was going to have issues with this because this only allows me to make a jump of about 6 inches, and I'm going to have to go probably 2 feet. So like I said, I anticipated this, and I bought some wires so that I can take this and extend this as far as I need to. So yeah, I think this is going to work out. I just gotta kind of think it out as we go through here and come up with all the things I'm going to have to do. This is going to be interesting. So I kind of wanted to see what it looked like with the lights on. That's the tape strip itself on a white light, and I can do different colors in there, which is kind of cool. So if I want to do red, I can do that, or green, or blue, whatever it is that pops. And then of course to go back to the white, there's also some kind of like patterns if I want to do crazy stuff like that. And so that's kind of fun. And that'll kind of create a kind of a cool effect. So I don't know, I think there's a lot of potential with this thing. I also have just the black light on this one. This is the one that is going to have the like UV reactive stuff and some of the uranium glass. Let me actually put a little stuff in there and let's just see what we're going to see on that. So you can see the uranium glass really pops in this light. I knew that was going to be the issue because I've been using these UV lights to display that for a long time. But even some of my ultraviolet reactive minerals are doing all right with this black light, even though it isn't quite as black as I'd like it to be. The Mangano calcite looks pretty cool. You know, you can kind of see the difference when it's when it gets hit by the black light. This piece is cool. Even the Uper light is pretty decent under this. So like I said, this is going to be all the like ultraviolet stuff that's going to be under here. But once again, if I want to, I can just turn on the regular white light. Let's see, as soon as I find the remote here. There it is. And then everything is just kind of back to where it is. You know, I can do different colors. The green, if I want to kind of emphasize that. You know, there's all sorts of options here. So I think it's going to look really cool. And I think now all I got to do is figure out how I'm going to route the wire, the tape strip from the top here to the bottom. And I'm going to read the directions because I know it's something that's possible. Because that's a feature, that's what they advertise on the package, that you can cut it and link them together. So yeah, I'm going to spend a little time trying to figure that out, and I'll show you what the next thing looks like. Alright, so I've read the directions enough to the point where I think I know how to do a disconnection and extend the range of the lights. Now, like I said, this wire is a little bit short, so I'm going to probably spend the rest of this vlog just lengthening this. I want to make this thing about 2 feet long, maybe a little longer, so that we can stretch it around from where it comes out of the case at the upper level and bring it down to where it's going to go into the case at the lower level. So that's going to take a little time. Like I said, I prepared for doing that and got some wire. It's kind of overkill on wire. This is the 14 gauge wire. That was the best I could do, but I don't know, I might have some narrower gauge stuff and maybe we'll use that instead. But what I need to do is make this connector about 3 feet long. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day doing that. That's going to involve a little soldering and a little cleanup work. I'll show you what the finished product looks like at the end. Okay, a little time has passed by. I've actually finished up my cable. It isn't the most beautiful thing in the world, but it should be electrically active and it should work. So we're going to try and get this thing hooked up and get the tape light routed where I want it to go, and get it to cut to the right length, and get the jumpers in place and all that. And I'll let you see what that looks like in a couple minutes. Okay, I did manage to get the wires attached. It was actually not too bad of a job. What I did is I drilled a little hole in the back of the case there, ran the wire from here to the back there, and then it comes out of the back, runs up the top of it, and then goes back into this hole where it comes through and it connects to this string. So this string is actually the first one. So the actual signal is coming from that end, goes through here, goes to the wire, comes out down here, and then continues back that way. And you know, right now I got it kind of in a little color cycling pattern, but you know, I can do just solid colors, green if I'm into that, blue, kind of a purple color, although that's more of a pink color, I think. So there's all sorts of cool options here, and it's good to know this stuff actually came together pretty easy. I was concerned about cutting the wire and reattaching it again, but the little bracket things they got, the little connector pieces they got work really well, and as long as I was able to extend the length of the one I had, we were in good shape. So I think we're done fabricating now, and next step is to take it apart and stain it. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll catch up with you in a little bit. Alright, I got everything pulled out, all the shelves, all the brackets, all the electrical, and we've done kind of one little final sanding just to get it nice and smooth. Kind of, you know, take off some of the rough edges that came from drilling the holes and all that fun stuff. But at this point, I think we are done for the day. I've done everything I could do. Next step now, I think, is going to be to stain it. I think we'll do that tomorrow. So definitely come back, and very likely you'll see the end of this thing. Alright, so I think that's all I got for now. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.